What's up, guys? Unseen Protagonist here to showcase a match on DuelingBook. Forgive my absence of Tuesday and Thursday. I'm trying to do a Tuesday and Thursday process for my videos. Reason why is because due to COVID, I've actually been unable to get more content, unfortunately. So for the time being, until my local shop is willing to host tournaments again, they had to put it on hold. We had a good streak of it since we're actually in red over here right now for COVID. Once tournaments open back up and I get better recording equipment and storage equipment, I can actually showcase you guys more live matches. So for now, time for some Dueling Book matches. So you got me on the down corner, on the down under playing Salamangreats versus the opponent on the up corner, which is DDDs. So this is honestly one of the most fun matches I've ever had. So I hit both the hands, but without further ado, let's get going. I think we kind of have the whole talk here. I believe I do accidentally, I think there is an accidental word in here about that, so we do play I think there is an accidental inappropriate word in here, my apologies. But so he uses Swirl Sign to fuse with Copernicus into Flame King Genghis, and then he sets Ragnarok in the scale. And then what next? He checks his graveyard, banishes Swirl Slime, or oh yeah, especially when DD goes, you have a Swirl Slime, you banish special Genghis effect, allows it to spawn another one. I chose to Ghost Ogre this simply because I have not. This is my first time actually playing DDD. I did play competitively when Zodiacs came out. Fun fact. Unfortunately, I think I joined right after when DDDs were top tier, and all of a sudden it kind of fell off the face of the planet somehow, right before I came. So this is my first time playing DD. I Ghost Started it, so I didn't know what I was doing. Usually I kind of just hit blindly if I go against a non-meta deck. Looks like that he used Copernicus to mill Swirl Slime. And he fuses again. Oh no, he links. Excuse me, that's alright. So he links off into Crystron, Halka, Fibrax, and then he uses the effect to special summon a tuner from the deck. Level 3 or lower tuner from the deck. Special summons the Plate Spreader Zombie from the deck. This card actually was a huge help to his combos. And then it looks like he linked it off. I think this is typical Synchro plays. Goes into Link Cross. Use the effect. He can play 2 Link tokens. Excuse me. Save. Then he tunes them together if I remember right. Tunes him into Martial Metal Marcher. This one revives Tuner in the graveyard, so this kind of helps with his more synchro plays. Since DDs kind of became the synchro prominent for negates, I noticed the fusions and Xyz are meant to help push for it. So it looks like he synchros again into, the Cyberse Integrator. Then he links them off if I remember right. Or no, he synchros into Stardust Charge Warrior. So then Stardust Charge Warrior lets him draw an extra card. Good. Oh, he draws 2. Oh yeah, because Integrator, when least Integrator can draw 2. Then he activates Pod Desires, banishes the top 10 for deck thinning. He was already in a solid state as soon as he got this poured out, I'm not gonna lie. I had a decent hand, and I thought I could handle it, then as soon as he goes further into his synchro plays, then I kinda got I felt a little discouraged this game. Yeah, it looks like we had to do a lot of thinking during this match. Since we're not really playing any meta decks, we usually kind of just mess around. It was kind of a mess around match, really. Overall, it was pretty fun. Sets a card, activates Dark Contract at the gate. Oh, and looks like it was set in permanence, so. Then Dark Contract at the gate lets him search a DD monster, double D. So, what else does he do? Activates the effect of DD Lamia, special summons itself. And he by pitching DD Swirl Slime. Or he sends it. He sends D Swirl Slime, not discard special. Use the effective pendulum effect ability of Triple D Oblivion King Abyss Ragnarok. That's a tongue twister for me for some reason, I don't know why. Tark's DD monster graveyard, any battle damage that would be dealt to me would be halved. He special summons a Swirl Slime in defense. So any damage to take is half this turn, but let's say, is it any damage or any battle damage? So honestly, that doesn't really matter. It's like dropping Sanctum on the opponent's standby phase. And yeah, he's still thinking, as I say, this DD deck is, from what I understand, this is quite the combo deck, and I can kind of tell. I mean, you're talking to a guy who's playing like moderate combo decks, like a control combo deck. It is a fun deck to me, though, with Salamangreat. And if you have watched my deck profile for Salamangreat, I did incorporate Salamangreat Gift in here. I was kind of hoping to show that in this match. However, I was unable to see it at all, and actually I immediately sided out as it's a new card. I still don't feel quite comfortable with it. I might bounce it back to a second Gozen because it just seems better. I noticed the blind draw probably wasn't helpful. In fact, actually, from the amount of times I was practicing with it, I never managed to play it. And whenever I did, I would probably just set it and then just pray like I can use it. It actually most likely got Twin Twisters. And hilariously, someone actually MST'd it. Someone dropped an MST on me, and that was outright hilarious to me. It looks like he spawned Plague Spreader, and it looks like he sends Swirl Slime to graveyard. I think he's going to Synchro? No? Oh, yep. He goes into... Oh, wait a minute. Oh, dear me. I'm probably looking at this wrong, but I think he cheated. He's supposed to use a non-tuner. And then I don't know if we got this. Shoot. That's not good. Well, he probably was just synchro off into Plague Spreader. Now it looks like we'll just say that never happened. He synchroed off into Triple D Curse King Siegfried. It looks like he's gonna synchro again. I think he goes into Gust King Alexander, if I remember right. Oh no, Meteor Burst. Oh, and use the effect to bust out Ragnarok from the Pendulum Zone. And the effect of Ragnarok, if it's normal or special summon, you can target a Triple D monster in your graveyard and special summon it. So he revives Triple D Flame King Genghis. Like, lore-wise, though, with the name choosing, I personally like DDDs. I have been interested in them simply because of the fact that they're named after famous kings. Like, I know Genghis Khan, and then, what else? Like, the iconic ones, like Caesar, like Julius Caesar, and then Alexander. And then Siegfried. I don't remember a Siegfried in the story. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. I'm kind of a history nerd. I actually got interested in history. My favorite type of history is the Civil War. I actually did a lot of interest presentations on it since I'm actually a college student right now. But yeah, it looks like he goes bounces Lamia back, if I remember right. I think he does misclick a few times, so bear with me on this, guys. Yeah. Oh, and then this is my hand. I guess while we're at it, I guess I can show this off. I had the Mining, Spinny, Roar, and Rage. So in theory, yeah, like I hard opened both the traps, and to me that's always like perfect to me. Although it did kind of seem a bit difficult though, because it did kind of depend on my next draw though. I forgot what I drew for this first game. Goes into Apollosa. This card gave me too much trouble. I promise you guys, because I had 3 monster effect negates, and it's hilarious. So it's 4 negates. So it was kind of hilarious. So that she's able to stop. Like, Apollousa able to stop 4 of my monster effects, and that was just nuts. So a lot of it I just had to sit on, like hoping I could just keep weakening her to push for more efficient games. But I think that's mainly what I did though. Actually, and then what what else goes on here? So you got Siegfried that can quick effect negate a spell or trap card on the field until the next standby phase, which is weird. And I don't think he ever used the effect of Cursed King Siegfried. But I guess while he's doing combo here, I guess I would like to explain the new rules here. I remember that double sleeving was allowed, and then I think there were 3 rules. Oh no, yeah, you can use a neuron to scan for your deck list, and also you had to use 1 die at a time for counters. I remember watching the skit for the Endymion deck where they just had Jenga blocks as counters for the cards, and I was just laughing when he actually knocked it over, just knocked everything. I'm like, oh no, this is going to take about 20 minutes of the game to figure out whose counters went where. No, I just find that interesting though. Personally, I did find it more efficient if you just simply turn the die to 4 tick marks. Unfortunately, I do see why they did that, just for better efficiency, and of course sometimes people kind of just throw die in there saying, that's 1, so I guess Konami chose to go on that end. And then the Neuron app, I do find that convenient, although I was always a person to just type out the decks. Fun fact though, on DuelingBook you can actually make a computer-generated deck list of your stuff by going to Deck Constructor and click on Export Deck List. I actually did that for my last 2 regionals I went to before the cough struck. And finally, I mean, the double sleeve, I'm probably not going to do that personally, simply because I just like the single sleeve, although I do see why they do that. I think they do it for drink precaution, from what friends at locals told me, since I still like to meet up with them. Our open tails are closed off, so I always like to meet up there and just talk. Personally, I don't really think the sleeve was unnecessary. They just said in case for drink spills. Of course, I do sense a contradiction in that, simply because there's no, what was I saying? I was saying because there's supposed to be no drinks allowed. But yeah, no, I was just saying, anyway, it looks like we left quite a bit of importance here. So I know also in debug, time to use the effect, Appaloosa punched it by its effect, so now it went from 3,200 to 2,400 attack points. That activates Send It Mining in hopes of sending Spinny. The sending is cost, by the way. I think he was trying to say I keep the Spinny in my hand. That's not the case though, so we negate it. I still have a Spinny Engrave, so I have the effects. Me saying oof, because if you guys notice, the last 2 cards in my hand were Roar and Rage. And then, so I link off debug into Baelings, tend to use Baelings' effects, and then he imperms it. Imperms the Baelings, so the middle column right here got shut for me. Although now that I think about it, though, I did see he set there, so I'm not sure what he was doing there. But I used Spinny's effect. I think he punches it again. Oh no, so I special summon the Spinny out of the grave. Then I link him off into Hita. I chose Hita because there was a Flame King Genghis in the grave, and I tend to use the effect of Hita. Unfortunately, no. She gets bopped with Appaloosa. Say. Yep, and then it's now 2, so I set 2 mysterious cards, which is a Roar and the Rage, obviously dodging the middle zone. Obviously not that really what mattered, since Imperm wears off to the turn. Hita swings in for Appaloosa. I smack him for 250 points of damage. Small dent, honestly, in this game, that's kind of like a Karibo attacking you. Actually, it would be weaker than a Karibo attacking you directly. But so then I pass the turn, unfortunately, since I'm kind of getting overpowered right now. So it draws for turn. So they got 2 powerhouses sitting down on me. Fortunately, on the plus side, though, we were both kind of playing the power style deck. When it comes to power, sometimes you just got to burn your hand out just to do it. So then use the effect to double the Orthros, the Pendulum effect. So it destroys Swirl Slime and attempts to smack my set card, which was Roar. I was okay with that because I was kind of okay partying with it, since Rage was kind of like my primary effect to use. And then entered the battle phase. Then Disgusting Alexander attacked Hita. Obviously, I don't really have any retaliation, unfortunately. So then I take the 650 life points of damage. I tend to use Hita's effect first. For like him and I tended to rush things a lot. We both kind of got excited with our matches, it looked like. But it was overall quite a bit of fun. And then use Heat's effect. I searched Jack Jagger. Reason why I did that was because I was kind of going for like normal beatdown power, and then I took the 28. I wanted to activate the rage first, and I realized it could just got negated. I wanted to work off with that effect. I wanted to make sure the rage went through. Also, not to mention, I'd rather have that relink too, seeing how the board state is. I'd rather just clear the one out instead of, you know, having the opportunity to get rid of both. So I draw for turn. Looks like I drew Salamangreat Falco. This is where the jank plays kind of took place. It's hilarious what you can do with Jack Jagger and Falco, I assure you guys. Seeing more hilarious when you got Foxy in the grave, I noticed. But, so I normal summoned Jack Jagger, I linked it off into Salamangreat Balinks. I attempted to use the effect if I remember right, yep. I declared the effect of Balinks. Then I viewed the deck for the one, the only, Salamangreat Sanctuary. So then I activated the Salamangreat Rage, sent the Falco from the hand to the grave to attempt to target and destroy Siegfried, and then yep, he responded with the effect of Siegfried to negate Rage's effect. So it just fizzed out. Plus side though, I got Falco sitting in the grave. So I think I used the effect of Falco, if I remember right. Oh no. Oh, I missed timing. That's what happened. That was a huge misplay on my part. So I activated Salamangreat Sanctuary. Yeah, and then I'm like, oh shoot, I missed timing. And then, then I relinked in Balinks into another Salamangreat Balinks. And then I attempt to use the effect of Jack Jagger. Yep. So the Balinks goes back into the deck to switch with Jack Jagger next to Balinks' arrow. And then, I was going to say, unfortunately, I wasn't really in a good position right now. I unfortunately already used my Hita to fight back. Even so, though, yeah, I guess he did have a couple Genghis Kongs in his graveyard, but so unfortunately, I go into Sunlight Wolf. Unfortunately, I already used the relink, so I kind of unfortunately had to sit on it. So that was my turn. And he draws for turn. Once again, the power plays, both top decking on things. And yeah, I think he just sits on the card in his hand. It might have been a hand trap if I remember right, but actually, let's see. Yup, it was an Ash Blossom. So I remember now. Yeah, he tended to hit an Ash, and then fortunately I had to take some massive hits. Put me down to 2850. Shield with Balinks, and then there was the Gozen match. So I set a card and passed. Fortunately, this is where game is because Gozen can easily be negated by Siegfried, unfortunately. So enter battle phase, I just said, you know what, let's go out with a bang. So I took the 2800, putting me down to a mere 50 life points. And then he attempts to hit me directly with Gus King Alexander. I think he was kind of hesitant on that. So he timed directly, I activated Gozen, not that it really mattered. Because use the effect of Siegfried. So put me down to 50 life points. And we enter next game. I admitted defeat and sign in progress. So the game one was interesting though. Falco, I probably should just set it and then in hopes of set the rage. That was kind of a misplay on my part. So that's what kind of led me to that point, unfortunately. So fortunately, I kind of took a fall. So we were both siding. I heavy side for this simply because extra deck spam is key. And then I go first in this case, simply because I put a lot of going for side cards in here. So what contained in my hand was a Mining, a DD Crow, an Exceed, a Spinny, and a Debug. So for starters, yeah, apparently we had to take a quick pause. He had a Nature called, so then I activated Sign Up Mining, sent Spinny his cost, meets it with an Ash. So I was like, okay, whatever. So then I normal summon Debug, and I attempted to use the effect of Debug, which was Ghost Ogre. That, Ghost Ogre is the kryptonite to lay debug. I am telling you guys, it's the kryptonite to debug. Because you get the search, but you don't have any other link materials to go with. That was always a pain in the Salamangreat player's life. It still is to this day. So I searched for Gazelle, and then debug went bye-bye, unfortunately. And then it was the end of the turn. I was stuck for a turn. So, plus side though, we had an somewhat equal amount of cards in our hand. Of course, he had hand advantage. But of course, he had to use quite a bit of his hand to get his combo going. He used Swirl Slime to fuse with the Necro Slime in order to create Triple D Flame King Genghis. Then he used Swirl's effect. I bopped Crow to banish Necro Slime to do any more fusions from the graveyard. Of course, probably would have been better if I hit the Swirl Slime from a misplay perspective. I think I still got this. No, I thought I still had it though. So, especially Savant Copernicus, and then this is a Foolish Burial for Double D or Dark Contract card. So then he sends a Double D Lamia from deck to grave. And then use effect Copernicus, Lamia effect, pitched oh, this is one of my favorite deities actually when I was playing it casually. Used a Triple D Chaos King Apocalypse. So, and then he sends it in order to summon the Double D Lamia. Then I think he links it off since I think he goes into Hulk of Fibrax if I remember right. Yeah, he goes into Hulk of Fibrax. Use the effects, so summon Plague Spreader, went into Link Cross, play 2 Link tokens. Then Synchro into Marshmallow Marcher, Integrator, went into Charge Ward, typical plays, Plague Spreader, Links, go into Savage, drop an Equip. Then he attempted to smack me directly with quite a bit of damage, because Savage was a big beater in this one since it had 3,750 attack points. And he had 2 negates. Plus side is that Savage is a hard once per turn with the negates, so I thought, thank goodness. So then I drew for turn, and it looks like my hand contained an Exceed, a Gazelle, a Foxy. So I thought if I could play my cards right, I could safely avoid this. So, and then let's see what I did. I normal summoned the Foxy. I attempted to use the effect. So I think he allowed it though since he kind of knew what I was going for. So my banish cards were the Sanctum, Debug, and Will. And if I remember right, looks like that he adds Will. And then he searches Will to Salamangreat. Then I put the Debug and Sanctum back. Yeah, as soon as he saw the Sanctum, he was like, yeah, okay, he was trying to lock me out of my extra deck. Unfortunately, I was not able to resolve it this game. Of course, since D&D is all about the extra deck spam, it would have been perfect. Then I didn't use Spinny's effect. I asked him if it was good since I knew he had a monster negate out there. I think, from what I'm seeing, it looked like he had 2 negates with Savage and Siegfried. So I used Spinny's effect to revive itself, and then I went into Mirage Stalio. I'm just kidding. I wish Mirage Stalio was not banned, but I do see why they did it. Anyway, so I link it off into Link Summon Salamangreat Balinks. Then I chain block, so I kind of need the Exceed to push for extra gain here. So then, I show the Exceed. Then, just to show, like, hey, I was going to use Exceed's effect. He allowed it. So the reason why I put Balinks as Chain Link 2 is because if I put Exceed first, I actually won't be able to go for my typical OTK plays. So I had to chain block Balinks to put Sanctuary in. I learned throughout time from playing my Salamangreat deck that Salamangreats do require like chain blocking skill. That's kind of like one of the essential skills you gotta have, my friends. Gotta make sure you know what to chain block and know what you're thinking, because sometimes this game it does require you thinking, and sometimes the chain blocking I feel that's a thing you look over. I noticed, and Salamangreats kind of definitely exposes that weak point of people. So then I searched for Salamangreat Sanctuary and shuffled the deck to replace. So on the Exceed. And then I went to Update Jammer. Then I went to Transcode Talker. I tend to use Jammer's effect, let him attack twice. Then I used Transcode's effect. He stopped it with Savage. I thought that was perfectly fine. Used Savage effect. I was like, yep, if he's gonna hit anything, it was gonna be the Transcode. So I linked it off into Lingerivo. Okay, so a lot of you guys are wondering why did I go into Lingerivo, obviously, when there's no traps out there. I played Lingerivo was for extra banish targets for access code, because I then go into access code talker. So then I use the effect. I think he said he wanted me to place counters on it. I think that, unfortunately, the new rules, yeah, then he was just saying, I think you win, and yeah, I dropped access code, and he was all like, yeah, nah, you got it. I was like, alright. I was always a duelist and never give up until the end. Even if I was on like the verge of defeat, everyone saw it, I said, heck no, I'm playing this game to the end. And the way I see, you can't really learn combos if you're just going to scoop the whole time. I mean, just people who scoop doesn't really make any sense to me. So we entered game 3. So I always like these game 3s. So I set a card, looks like that was Infinite Impermanence. I set another card, which was Sanctum, and that was actually all I could do. Draw phase, and then on standby phase, I tend to activate Artifact Sanctum, such on Sight from the deck. I tend to use Sight's effect. He allowed it. This I might have shotgunned, both short-term and long-term, unfortunately. Because if you look at my hand, I can't really do much. That wheel is basically dead right now, unfortunately. And then also, well, if he had an imperm in his hand, I noticed, because people tend to imperm the Scythe, and then they say, okay, whatever. But I don't think he did, because he allowed it, so the extra deck kind of did stun him for a little bit. And then I told him that is all. So then, and he vanishes the top 10 cards from the top of his deck for Pod Desire. Since draw 2 is met with an Ash. So, this was probably also a misplay on my part. I only did because he didn't have a lot to work with. I think he was trying to yank some extra game changers and stoppers. So since I already stopped a huge part of the game, the extra deck, I thought stopping the blind draw would be okay in this case. Usually, no, because I think it was a bait for Dark Contract with the Gate. Tend to use Dark Contract with the Gate's effect. Search for Triple D Chaos King Apocalypse. And as the next play, and then jump it up. I think he searched for Copernicus. I forgot. I didn't see what he searched, but normal summon Copernicus. Activate Copernicus effect to Foolish Burial a double D monster or a Dark Contract card. Then I meant that to an Impermanence. That kind of seemed to be a good opener for the deck, so I impermed the Copernicus, and then his right Pendulum Zone effects would be negated. So, well played on my part, I think, but yep, and then he used Lami's effect, and then we're like, wait a minute, how come Copernicus is in the graveyard? It go to the extra deck. But yeah, I think it was just a misclick. I think he was trying to, like I said, we were kind of having fun with our matches. This is honestly one of the most fun matches I ever had online against an underrated deck, since personally I don't like playing meta, but the reason why I played Salamangreat so as the exception is because I just like the play style of it. And honestly, like, another thing I think about people is, like, a lot of people assume us by Meta Sheep or the Rogue Wolves. We'll say that just for the symbolism here. Like, a lot of us, like, usually people, I notice that a lot of people like to me, I think a lot of people like to choose their decks, meta or rogue regardless, simply because they like the playstyle it. I like Salamangreat because I like the character from Yu-Gi-Oh! Reigns. Also, I like the playstyle, the combos are fairly simple, and actually, it was very monotone. I can always put my head on autopilot for, like, 2+ turns before I can do anything. To me, that felt very comfortable. And knowing the deck just felt really good to me. I felt very strong with it. And also, you know me, I like Cyber's decks. So personally, I guess it kind of annoys when people say Meta Sheep, Bat, or Rogue is always more preferred. It always depends on the playstyle of the player. But anyway, there goes my little rant there. So yeah, we put Copernicus back to the extra deck. And you actually start contract with the Swamp King. It's the fusion card. And then I think he passes us and he couldn't do the extra deck. Yep, and then I also drew bad. I drew a second will. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So I just used, so Scythe just became my Scythe. So I just kept swinging it over the Lamia, and that was all I can do, unfortunately. And then he was like, oh good, I can now go into my extra deck. I'm like, yup. Think I might have shotgun that though, and then he takes 1,000 damage each contract when I'm at 6,000. Then enters main phase 1. Use Kate's effect to search for Double D Swirl Slime. Shuffles the deck. Use Lamia's double the Lamia's effect in the grave. Special summons Lamia from the grave. Then sends Dark Contract to the grave. Activates Foolish Burial. And then with Foolish Burial sends a Ram monster from deck to grave. Sends DD Necroslime. Then on my on that, I use DD Crow to outright, I think I banished the Necroslime. Same concept, more extra fusion. He didn't have a lot of cards in his hand, so he probably wasn't able to do much. So the fusion play might have been what he had to rely on. So then he uses Swirl Slime's effect. He had backups, so he fuses double D Swirl Slime and triple D Chaos King Apocalypse to make High Genghis Kong. So he makes triple D Flame High King Genghis. So and then he uses Dark Contract Swamp King. Oh yeah, and then I think he banishes it, or oh yeah, he uses Swamp King because he used Swirl Slime, and then he used Dark Contract the Swamp King to fusion summon into the original Triple D Flame King Genghis Khan. Then I think he synchros. I think he goes into Alexander, if I remember. Oh no, he links off into Halka Fibrax, and then yeah, then he specials Plague Spreader, links off in Link Cross, plays 2 tokens, goes into Martial Metal Marcher, revives it, makes Integrator, makes Charge Warrior, draws 2, and then hits me directly with quite a bit of damage. And then puts me down to almost half my life points. And then use Plague's effect. I'm like, alright. And then puts the card in his hand to the top. Special summons Plague Spreader from the grave. And then I think he links some. Oh, yep, no, he didn't have a lot to work with. So he does this hilarious play. He goes into Appaloosa with 4 full on with the 4 counters. Well, they're not really counters. She's at full power at 3,200 attack points. So then I win, and then this was the best top deck ever in my life. I top deck Gazelle. I'm like, oh heck yeah. So I normal summon the Gazelle. I felt the best ever. I attempt to use the effect. Ghost Ogre did. I'm like, darn it. So I sent Foxy, and I'm sure looking at my hand, I'm sure you can figure out why I had or why I went Foxy. There's already a face-up card anyway, and even if there wasn't, I would have just used it. So then I linked it up. Well, no, I got Ghost Ogre, excuse me. Activated Will. Tend to use Will's effect. Since he only stopped monster effects, I could free to use my spells. So I switched from Gazelle. Then I linked it off into Salamangreat Balinx. I attempt to use Balinx's effect. Gets negated, gets whacked by Appaloosa. So unfortunately I can't get the search. Tend to use Foxy's effect. Send to grave, it's cost. And they're like, wait, I'm like, hold on, send this cost, it's all good. And yep. And then he whacks me with the second Appaloosa effect, with another Appaloosa. Put me down to 1,600, then I kind of went through my phases. And unfortunately, that's all I can do. Since they stopped my Sanctuary, I was unable to fetch a Sanctuary to relink Balinx to have something to work with. The plus side is, though, all she has a monster with 1,600 attack points. So, in theory, I could be able to deal with it. It kind of depended what I drew next. I think I remember what I drew, but yep, and I think they tried pushing for game right now. Yep. Oh yeah, yep, and then pays at 1,000. Might have forgot to. Oh yeah, no, I think he. Yep. Took the 1,000 points of damage via the effect. Sets Triple D Oblivion King of his Ragnarok in his right scale. Scale 5. I noticed that hilariously, like now, deities, like I know it's a pendulum themed deck, and I have watched Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 with Declan. I found that hilarious. So he used pendulum methods, and now like real life, sometimes like now you don't even use the effects, like the pendulum effects. I am kind of happy though that this in the like anime talk. I do like the reason why Vrains is introduced, because they do kind of introduce the combos. It was semi-competitive, like besides Playmaker, he unfortunately didn't have a lot of competitive shown because, you know, Revolver had Rockets, which led to Dragon Links now, and then Soul Burner with Salamangreat, and then Blue Angel with Trick Stars. But as I say, Rain is my favorite animation because it kind of relates to the anime. And honestly, I just can identify with Playmaker easily. Like I said, I love my Cybers decks. And then this is where like I kind of messed up a little bit. But in your battle phase, unfortunately, I had to like get Bailings get zapped by the Triple D Flame King Genghis. I took the 15, and then Appaloosa attempted to hit me direct for 1600. So not to mention, sometimes when it comes to grind game, the best way is to just deal with the Appaloosa and try to weaken it as quick as you can, because you can actually push for significant gains. I'm kind of one of those oddball players. I honestly like kind of look at the weird things, and because people don't look at the weird things, I usually manage to win the games. So a lot of it's staying outside the box. So anyway, I drew the Salamangreat Rage. Then use Fox Fag, pitch Foxy's cost. She's Appaloosa says no, so it's at 800 attack points now. And then I'm just like, man, you are not letting me do anything. And then I use Will's effect to revive Gazelle. And then I think, oh yeah, it was met with a Ghost Ogre. And I think he said, wait, I didn't want to do it, and this is where I felt extremely grateful. Ghost Ogre doesn't negate, and I had a Bailings in my graveyard. So, yeah, I think he made a misplay, but hey, we're all human. We all make mistakes, right? So, I sent the spinning from deck to grave. Then banished the Bailings. I'm like, I totally forgot I had this guy. And then he's like, I think you can come back. I'm like, I think so. And like, depends on my draw. I'm like, oh man, like now I just got the luck base. Of course, this game can be luck based when it comes down to trying to win in the very late stage of the game. Since we all had no cards in our hand, it really was luck based, truly. Then yeah, I used Space Effect, had to double check it was good, linked it off. I think you want to hang on to that last 800 for Appaloosa, otherwise I probably would have been able to, it would have left him in a vulnerable spot. I mean, but yeah, actually, Appaloosa just docks the attack point. And then it looks like to stop Sanctuary, this is kind of a really bad play on my part. Mine effect, and then forgive my language here. I actually dropped the F word. Please forgive me. Hopefully the YouTube generator does not ding me on that. But he unfortunately banished the fires. He knew I had Hita, and he knew last time I was trying to feed off the monsters, especially since he banished Flame High King Genghis. So that was smart in his play. I give him praise for that. So then I take him down for 1850 life points. That gave me the advantage. So then I enter main phase 2, end phase. Unfortunately, I couldn't really do much there. Plus side is though, I did have a free search if they tried taking it out. And I think because of the card he drew, I think he drew into, oh yeah, due to the contract. The contracts can help both players. I noticed when you try to go for grind because they have to take 1,000. It's not one of those either you can or destroy it. They have to take the damage, and they normal summons the Double D Swirl Slime. Enters battle phase, attacks Hita, takes it out. I take 150 points of damage. Then checks the effect. I use Hita's effect, and then I think he was like trying to like, all right, we gotta push for game, keep going. And then I was like, yeah, was Hita good? And then, yep, and then yep, I use Hita's effect to search for Salamangreat Jack Jagger, simply because I'm trying to go for that normal beat down, because that kind of seemed to be the optimal move right now. And yeah, I took 200 due to the Swirl Slime's direct attack. I drew for turn. I drew both the Debug and the Jack Jagger. And then, yep, and then he, I think because I had enough to push, he ended equip. So that was a well-earned win on my part. I think a lot of it was luck-based on game 3. So if he actually is watching this, very unlikely. Shouts to you, man. You had it was a great duel. Very luck-based. I always have fun when it comes to luck. And this is Unseen Protagonist signing out. Peace.